Alrighty, we are live and looks like we are good to go. Let's get a little check-in, get a little housekeeping done real quick. Awesome. Alrighty, levels, all good, looks good. Alrighty guys. Welcome back to MTV TA. I'm here as host, Trent Manager. All my returning patrons, welcome back. All my new patrons and new viewers, of course, really glad to have you guys here on this beautiful Thursday. It's a little cloudy outside today, so I had the windows open and get some extra light in here. But hey, hope you guys have had a great week, guys, and hopefully everything's going well, work, family, and so on. But thank you guys for chiming in today, and we got some good information like usual. Kind of go over some market sentiment, some other informational readings, and let's see what else. Let's do some housekeeping. Let's see what we got going on. But alrighty, guys. So we got some Shopify and NFT news. So super good news on there. So Shopify is actually integrating some NFT collections and also being able to work with content creators in terms of getting their NFTs minted through Shopify. So that is a very huge step. Just as how far we've come in terms of just year ago. Wow. Binance cuts withdrawal limits, rolls out and tax reporting tools. We're going to go over that as well. Have a couple tweets from Binance's CEO, kind of how he said he was going to be looking to step down due to some regulation pressure. Regulation is kind of a whole different law and a whole different pail of fish in terms of really running a business. I'm pretty sure most of us know that in terms of everything crackdown wise going on. We're going to be going over some Chris Dixon tweets as well, some really good comparison charts in there in terms of some log charts, seeing the growth of other assets and other sorts of technology before blockchain technology and so on, kind of see how they reacted and kind of see how they compare to one another. Also going to be going over some Raoul Pal Twitter as well. This won't be a super long video today, guys. Sorry, I was a little bit late today and kind of a little bit jumbled. I'm running out of very little sleep, guys. I've got a project I'm working on actually overseas, so my schedule's just a little jacked up. It's near Tokyo, so it's more over there, but it's definitely messing up my schedule. So I'm sorry if I'm like rambling or my eyes like start shutting or anything. I'm just trying to keep it together. So I got a Red Bull over here, so I'm just keeping it together. So I appreciate you guys. But awesome, guys. We got everything out of the way for housekeeping, and let's not waste any more time, guys. Let's really jump into it. So first reading I definitely wanted to kind of go over is Shopify starting to allow its e-commerce customers to sell NFTs directly. So we kind of had to talk about not too long ago, and I know we haven't talked about NFTs in quite a while either. We had last time I believe we were talking about NFTs. I think we talked about the Stoner Cats with oh my gosh, man. Oh, memory's so bad. Oh my gosh. Can't even remember his name. You guys know we covered him not too long ago. I see his face. My goodness, that's embarrassing. But anyway, last time we talked about NFTs, we were covering the Stoner Cats and kind of just really the question of, what are NFTs? Like, it's kind of just a hype phase, a little circle phase. It just wasn't really anything important. But, that's not the case. We've covered it time and time again in terms of using NFTs for collector editions, in terms of going to a concert, pretty much anything physical material in terms of that you can put into an NFT, so like eventually the Mavs tickets, you went to Game 7, the NBA Finals, you got an NFT for it, for your ticket, and there you go, you get to keep that NFT for that ticket, so to show that you went to the Finals game. So there are tons of different utilities that can happen, within NFTs, and it's not something I believe is a phase or kind of like a trend. This is something I believe will be integrated in terms of, not only just content creators, but I'm pretty sure you guys know my feelings already, but as we continue to move forward, kind of a more of a novelty, kind of specialty type thing, the same way that you have your baseball card and your collector's editions. I have no doubt that my niece, who's about, maybe 4, she's about 4 or 5 right now, by the time she starts getting to middle school, they'll start whipping out phones of NFTs, like his, comparing NFT collections just like they did baseball cards and, like we did back in the day. So that's just my terminology of how we're going to be, kind of shifting over in terms of, physical now to the digital realm, especially carrying those physical items with us over to digital realm. I believe NFTs are going to play a massive role of how we do that. So really, getting back on topic, Shopify is starting to allow this commerce with their customers to sell NFTs directly. So just like we have OpenSea, we have Rarible, all those NFT selling sites, we're now seeing smaller integration on external sites. I know we talked about eBay, we talked about what else did we talk about? I know there were a couple others that we covered in terms of trying to work their way into how they can do this for their customers. So I mean it's a great coverage. If we would have talked about this a year ago and said this was going to happen, or if we thought this was going to happen and we made a prediction, people would laugh at us. It just shows you how quickly we really are moving in terms of really getting things, something even as small as NFT realm, integrated into, everyday kind of everyday activities. So Shopify, big thumbs up to you guys. They're trying something new and they're getting something out that not a lot of people are doing right now. So they're definitely ahead of the curve. So also want to cover Vitalik Buterin's Ethereum's E3 conference talk. So he talks about DeFi. He talks about all the use cases and a lot of the other sectors, that can be kind of revamped. So we know that the finance sector is the main sector for disruption. It's the easiest sector for disruption. So, just like we talked about my analogy of, the rusted pipelines, you can drive different country cars or different cars from different countries. You can wear different clothes from, different countries. You got Gucci, Louis, like all these different corporations to where you could express yourself. You can, outsource in terms of, not being, just in your country. But it seems very odd that, when it comes to the banking system, that we only have one old traditional banking system. There's no other way that you can really get around. You can't go around wire transfers. You can't go around, KYC, customer info. You can't go around certain limitations in terms of ecosystems here. And it just sucks that the most anticipated and the most used and important ecosystem is the finance ecosystem. So Vitalik actually expressed on this, and how he talked about this was social media being the next big target. So with that being said, we had talked about, and we're also going to cover again, the Aave coming out with their decentralized Twitter, is what are sectors that are disruptible and already have issues that need to be resolved. So that would fall mainly under, social media. This is just my terms: social media, finance, and I think the third one I would probably put on, if I were to think of a sector, I might even say, I'd probably say real estate in there, but I guess that kind of falls under another category. But I'd say real estate and transparency and trust. I guess that falls under the basic categories. But really, as we move forward with how things are going to continue to work, and when we get to the Aave piece, it will start to make a little bit more sense. But the the systems that we have now put in place do need some change. And that's something that can be small starting off. So like, for example, instead of having the algorithm for you in terms of your Twitter and your Facebook and your Instagram, maybe it has the algorithm for everybody, or maybe it's a community-based vote. I know our DAOs, our decentralized autonomous organizations, are completely smart contract written. So there's no individual that goes into the DAO, and there can be, of course, us developers, but there's no entity that controls that DAO. It is all programmed out for for complex executions, and if this happens then this happens, if then Y functions. If you follow our coding tutorials, you may know that as well. So I thought this was super interesting. It's a complex topic because it's not something that has happened yet, but it's the merge of what is to come exactly. So it's just something to keep in mind, and I think this is something that we do need to keep in mind, because as we keep moving forward, as we keep progressing with this technology and things become more scalable, and roll-ups come out, and it really starts to become fabricated within us, and it becomes very, very normal, which it will. It's important for us to identify the issues and the holes that we have in our existing system, and of course being able to work around those and be able to keep moving with it. So I thought it was good. He made a really good chat. He going down even in the article. Can Ethereum decentralize social media? Ethereum as a decentralized login service. There are plenty of ideas that have been surfaced around and are continuing to be worked on and ready for execution. So it's great. I think this was about a week ago. This is a little bit older, but it still very holds relevance, because I thought about it pretty hard, and it was something that I probably need to think more on, because as we do keep moving for the integration part, there will always be challenges, but of course you can see how the forecast can be very bright in that sense. So awesome. Make sure we have let's check on chat, make sure there's no one in chat. Okay, awesome, cool, awesome, cool. And see, now actually heading over to our Aave protocol for Ethereum, they want to do an Ethereum-based Twitter through decentralized finance, and Aave is a big player in the space in terms of lending and borrowing platform. We've covered Aave plenty on this channel. So crypto Twitter all over Jack. Since Jack is going to build an Aave, since Jack is going to build Aave on Bitcoin, Aave should build Twitter on Ethereum. There's kind of some small little jokes here and there, kind of the DeFi space. But Aave CEO Stanley has said one of the missions to create alternative Twitter to finish entrepreneurs planning to develop social media platform for the Ethereum blockchain, previously dubbed ETH lend. His original idea was created back in 2017 as decentralization, non-custodial, open service lend protocol that allows a certain interest on deposits and lend currency. So that's what Aave is, if you guys didn't know that. But definitely moving forward, this is something that it's real. It's definitely been talked about, and it's going to be here quicker than we think. Maybe not full functioning in terms of the way you use Twitter right now and other social medias, but it's exciting to think about that this is pretty close in terms of pretty much in the grasp. It's on the table, being talked about. We know Jack Dorsey's loves the cryptocurrency space. We got other big supporters, and it's tough because the mindset sometimes you got to have, especially when not only just from an investor standpoint, from a developer standpoint as well, is just to also understand this is something that even on good news does not affect price action. So it's kind of that very psychological, torn way of, hey, we got great news and everything seems to be great in the news, but then we also have price action reflection of things not doing very well. So those two are very, very discorrelated, and it's very important for me, and we talk about this often too, is that you just got to understand and trust the actions and not the words of what people do. Words are hollow, actions are actions, and they're solid. So that's something that, at least for me, I had to quickly, and I had to work on it a lot, because it was a while ago. It was a lot harder for me to distinguish the two. So, and I know that's kind of hard for you guys sometimes too, because it's oh, we have all this good news, and then it's we're crashing 40%. But as we continue to mature, I know things will get easier, and things will continue to progress. We've already seen so much progression in terms of, if you go back and watch the live streams from 7 months ago, and then watch now, you can just see how the sentiment has shifted. If you were to sit there and watch every live stream that we did from literally the beginning till now, you would see the sentiment shift. It's a whole storybook. You flip the pages, and all the characters start going through crazy. But going over to Chris Dixon and his kind of Twitter threads. I love these Twitter threads. So for those who are interested in really getting to know crypto Twitter, it's a great place to be. These guys really do share some great information. So often, he goes, new technologies often arrive with flaws, like toys, like expensive junk, janky, lagging, clear application, etc. To predict that they'll develop important, dig deeper. Here are a few common ways that technology can be misunderstood. This is a really good one. I actually love this entire Twitter thread. Goes through tons of small integrations, such as it's just a toy. This is just a mistake made about a breakthrough technology like the telephone, personal computers, and social media. That is also true. When the telephone was first invented, Western Union dismissed it as the sound quality was poor. It only worked at short distances, and it failed to imagine how quickly those things would improve. That is very, very true. Early on, blog services like Twitter mostly discuss niche topics and share personal details, along with dismiss them as toys. What's so funny? I heard a story with Twitter when it first came around. People were so hateful of Twitter. They were like, this is so dumb. Who what am I supposed to say? I remember, I don't know what the first tweet was. I know it was Jack Dorsey's tweet. He said this is my first tweet, and there was I don't know if it was a teacher or somebody who told me, but they were oh, I'm walking to class in my new jeans, and that's what they tweeted. That was the first real round of Twitter, and I thought it was so funny, because it's no one knew really what Twitter was for, and they're what are we gonna do this for? How is this gonna work for us? But now look at it now. It's crazy. It's a business, so it's a business investment. Now a lot of these things have turned into business endeavors. It's too expensive. We hear this a lot about electric vehicles. This is a really good chart as well. Long-term price trends for electronic goods, services, consumer price indexes, computer software is related to the U.S. You can see cable. This is from Inception, I believe, as well. So 100 is I don't know what is 100. Oh, 100 price level. Oh, okay, in December 1997. Okay, so the higher good. Okay, makes sense. Cable and satellite. Okay, so all items in general, internet service, electronics providers, audio equipment, and personal computers, peripheral equipment. So you can kind of just see on this chart here, goods and services, how things kind of react to one another, and how quickly consumer price indexes can fluctuate and really change. And in addition to getting cheaper hardware, getting modern iPhones and over 12 billion transistors, roughly 3,000 times more than 1995. It's another good one. Another good chart here on this one as well. I didn't know that, actually. That's awesome. I read through this, but of course sometimes I when I come back through with you guys, I always learn something new, which is pretty cool. So, and then also continue. He this is a whole crazy rant, but you can just see just from some of the images and threads. This is someone who not only knows what they're talking about, but of course it's proof. We always get the the if, ands, or buts, or this is not it. This isn't going to work with anything new. Change is very, very. It's scary. It can be very scary, especially when you don't know what's going on. When you don't know what's going on. Number one, and also number two, when it is coming for your business and kind of can cause issues in terms of disrupting what you already have planned and existed as well. And let's go over to Raoul Pal as well. This was another great one. I love chiming into Raoul Pal. He's always got some great things to say. Just an update, for our crypto charts. Here's a log chart of BTC parallel versus 2013 now. Kind of just some interesting little comparisons, by no any means, or do we have a crystal ball? But I trust data. You guys know, we like the data, and we know history doesn't always repeat itself, but it rhymes pretty hard. So these are always important to look at and kind of just understand. We're here for the long haul, so we don't really care too much about day-to-day price action, but it's always great to see and understand, where things are right now. And, even next week, it's good to, think about that as well. But in terms of stressing over it, we don't stress about that here. We're here for a couple years to come, so, we are not going anywhere. But it's always good to see the comparisons for Raoul Pal. He's always got some really great charts for history repeating itself and continuing to play out the way not only we think it's going to, but the way that we know it's going to. We know in the longevity term, we know that things are going to be just fine, and the adoption curve will continue to be good. This is by far one of my favorite ones. It showed the comparisons of technology adoption of the log scale. So this is the comparison to the internet, I believe, the total global internet consumption. So actually, which is crazy, we are actually ahead of schedule in terms of the internet, which is pretty nuts. I can say that for a couple reasons. So I could get if the roles are flipped, and if we took blockchain first and then the internet on top. So let's say like blockchain was the Linux and the first ever, of course, adoption. I could see how that could be the interception. I guess how that could flip. But in terms of where we are now, and yearly growth and how we're going. I mean, shoot, guys, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty nuts. Total cryptos by million, users by million. It goes by year. 2020. This is for 2024. But this is for 2022 here. That's 2023. So 2022, and then it skips. But wow. We will see. Time will see. But I mean, this is reassuring to me. I feel like all of us had already had a feeling of this in terms of our adoption curve of how we're going. I mean, it may not seem like everybody knows what's going on, but the most important thing right now is that we know that everyone in the world is not going to either have digital assets or ever own Bitcoin, and that's fine. That's not what we're here for. We're here for the technology adoption and the integration for our big players to implement that not only in their systems, but for us to have that be pipeline like we always talk about. So that's the most important thing to me. We will come back to the THR for last, but also I wanted to, actually, let's go over our crypto fear and greed index. Let's see where we're at. So we're at a smooth 50, completely neutral. So that's pretty crazy to me. So, last week extreme fear, last month extreme fear, yesterday 50, today 50. So it's going to be cool to see. So let's see the past 3 months. Pretty crazy, right? Look at what a roller coaster we've all been through. Look at this. That's crazy. Look at all. Oh my goodness! Wow, we love it here. But alrighty, so let's go over it real quick. I kind of wanted to do this kind of breakdown of stablecoin integration and kind of how things in the utility of how stablecoins continue to move. This is going to back up the point of kind of how we talked about at the beginning. So in terms of use case, what can stablecoins do, and how is this going to improve our already existing financial system, and how are things going to continue to move forward to continue to benefit us? So let's take stablecoins for example. We know it can make fast transactions. They're cheap, they're transparent, and the automation is there. And we know that Ethereum does run these stablecoins, and that is, I believe, for majority of stablecoins, if not all of them, is ran by Ethereum. So we know that is here, and really going through, we know that we can make fast transactions cheap. So some of the biggest issues, that we have with the financial system now is clunky, slow, can sometimes be expensive. I don't know if you guys ever had to send a wire transfer, even internationally or just locally. Well, I don't know, I don't even know what considered the cutoff wire transfer. I think it's $10,000. But anyway, we can pull that as one comparison. And I know you guys have also had paycheck issues as well. So let's say you get paid Friday, your paycheck gets hold till Monday, and let's say the bank is let's say it's a federal holiday, and you may not get paid till Tuesday. So even though you worked all that week and you did everything right, but you're getting penalized by getting your paycheck 3 days late. So issues like that, there are very disruptive and things that stablecoins can solve in terms of getting the financial system more accustomed to a better path and easier ways to say. And as we continue to move with stablecoins, and I know this is something that we'll continue to talk about and kind of go over. We moved from metals and assets, or name metals and paper money kind of came in. I mean it was around like. Do not quote me if this is going to sound really bad if this is off, but I think 1930 something is. I know we had the government come in, take away the federal backing of gold for exchanging for liquidity of cash, and I remember they did that in I think it was like 1942 if I remember right, or something like that. And then that's where the dollar system came into play. Let's look that up, guys. I'm so sorry. I just don't know when. Let's see. 1996, a series of bills were introduced and new methods of counterfeit. Okay, so 1861 is actually when we got. Okay, now we're saying 1785. Okay. Anyway, besides the point, I'm getting way off topic. The way that the main story of the point is this: we went from metals, or I'm sorry, we went from seashells. Sorry for writing seashells to metals to dollars, and now we are going digital. So the comparison here is that we continue to evolve to make things easier for ourselves in terms of transportation, transparency, and automation. And what is the easiest way? Not even the easiest way. What is the way that we continue that to develop that system and continue to move forward as we continue to upgrade civilization? Makes sense. Everything's already digital. That is, in simplest terms, that is the easiest. And it seems. It's just like that's it. Like that's really it. There's nothing crazy or complex. That is just the way we're moving as we continue to move forward. And Raoul Pal had his Fed meeting yesterday. When he went over transitory inflation, went over all the issues that we're going to be having, and this is going to be something that we're going to need to be paying attention to. We know that price of living is ridiculous. Goods are just higher, and this is something that we are going to have to continue with, and that's okay. And we can prepare ourselves for things like this, and it's tough, but we can get through it, just like we always do. It just sucks that it's just terrible timing. I feel like it's just always awful timing with Raoul Pal. I feel like he could have not went on at a worse time yesterday. But other than that, guys, that is pretty much it for me today. I'm so sorry if today was a little bit off and I was a little bit rambly. Like I said, guys, I'm just tired. I'm just really, really tired. So I will shape it up for next week. Pay attention for all your coding tutorials. We will have another one out next week for part 4. So pay attention to that, guys, if you guys are going on for that. All my Patreon members, please remember to check your Patreon when you can, and make sure we keep messages up to date as well. Leave off. This is our TA chart that we're looking at now. We're looking pretty solid. We are getting our way up above our first yellow line. So we peaked out at 42, touched well above 42 for a second, kind of retreated, so we're at 38 now. So it wouldn't be uncommon if we came back and retested, a little bit of our moving average lines, maybe bobbled it back down here a little bit for the 36s, and then, continue to, push this line higher. Remember, the longer and the harder we continue to fight this level and fight above these bands, we will eventually flip this into support and then continue to climb higher. So even back here, we're fighting with this as well. These are not invalidated because they're older at all, by the way. So even wicks over here are valid. So alrighty, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys chiming in today. I just want to keep this really short and sweet. Be safe. Have a great week. I will see you guys next week. And I'll post if there's anything else that comes up. Thank you guys so much. Bye bye.